What's up? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks for being here, being subbed. If you're not, hit the button. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit that like. It's like walking in the room and hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into the politics and BS. I absolutely love this, guys. And this happened several days ago. I'm just getting a chance to really get around to it to share my thoughts on it. But I'm going to play the video in its entirety. I'm going to speed it up, because I really love the fact that someone was willing and brave enough to call the BS out to someone's face about Donald Trump, because the fact of the matter is they let him get by and get away with so much stuff, but yet they give Kamala and have given Kamala the third degree with everything. And then when I see people doing commentary on Kamala and Obama talking about, oh, they got a lot of nerve, they're trying to call us out and trying to blame us and shame us into voting for them. And it's like, do you all really prefer having Donald Trump as president? Like, seriously. And all of the racist, it's not even rhetoric, it's racist truths that are being spoken by him. And all of the other foolishness that is going on when it comes to him and his campaign. And I don't hear these people calling out Trump and his racist cronies, but yet they're calling out President Barack Obama. How dare he speak to black men that way? How dare he speak to us that way? Trying to call out Kamala and people saying, oh, you know you're not going to get nothing for that vote, but yet you're willing to risk getting Project 2025 for either your lack of voting for who would be in your best interest, or you're voting for Donald Trump. It's crazy.
I think that her saying that she believes Donald Trump is a fascist got a lot of headlines because it was the first time that she said it. She's been going on for days saying Mark Milley said he's a fascist. This person said this. You raised the question of authenticity in your interview with her, and that was an authentic moment where she says, "Yeah, I do think he's a fascist," and I think that's why it had a reaction. Donald Trump, he, for whatever you think about him, if you like him, if you hate him, he is certainly who he is. He's shown us who he is every single day.
Yeah, which is a fascist. And it's crazy because you still don't have news networks having that conversation. Like when somebody says, when somebody questions Kamala Harris's blackness or is he a DEI hire, y'all will have roundtable discussions about that, asking that question. How come you're not having roundtable discussions asking, is Donald Trump a fascist? Actually, not even asking it, stating it. I mean, when you look at the things that he's talking about doing, jailing journalists, jailing his political opponents, turning the military on American citizens. The guy said he wanted to terminate the Constitution to overthrow the results of an election. How come that is not the topic of discussion on networks like CNN every day?
But do you think that, you were raising this with Kamala Harris about her own authenticity, about her own willingness to just, say things that aren't crafted. Do you think she needs to do more of that? Trump's going to go. Apparently Trump's going on, is going to tape a thing with Joe Rogan. Do you think she should do that?
I think that she should keep calling Donald Trump a fascist. And I think that Americans need to keep looking at the rhetoric of Donald Trump, because I don't know why we're even thinking about electing somebody who's talking about putting people in camps. I don't know why why we want to elect somebody who's talking about mass deportation. I don't know why we're having this conversation about somebody who wants to terminate the Constitution to overthrow the results of an election. Aren't we supposed to be a patriotic country? Whenever somebody like Colin Kaepernick takes a knee in this country, everybody talks about, oh, that's so unpatriotic. But a guy can say he wants to terminate the Constitution to overthrow the results of an election and nobody cares. Like even me bringing it up now, you brought it back to Kamala and Joe Rogan. Anderson?
Yeah.
Who gives a damn?
Well, I think you give a damn who's elected president. And
yeah,
I'm asking
that president is a fascist. That's talking about putting people in camps. That's talking about, once again, terminating the Constitution to overthrow the results of an election. That's talking about, jailing his political opponents. Yeah. Like, that rhetoric doesn't scare people?
Well, we talk about this every single. This is what
I don't think
I've been talking about this every night.
I don't think y'all have enough conversations about it. I feel like I heard more on this network about is Kamala Harris black than I do about Donald Trump being a fascist.
Well,
am I wrong, Angela?
Honestly, that's bullshit. I'm sorry.
Oh, I like that.
I'm not. Look, I'm a huge fan of yours.
Okay.
But to say that we're sitting around discussing is Kamala Harris black,
I've seen that. I've seen those roundtable discussions a lot. Now, that's bullshit, Anderson. For you to say that y'all don't have those conversations.
I've never asked somebody is.
Oh, I'm not saying you. I said the network.
He said the network.
I don't think anyone. I don't think any anchor on this network has been going around saying, "Is she black?"
Y'all never had.
We have had. Look, I'm sure we have had, nutty people or people who have strongly held beliefs who I may disagree with, who somewhere on some panel have said something. But I will just speak up for what I do on the show. I do believe it's important to get people different viewpoints as long as they're willing to have a legitimate conversation. What I don't like are surrogates who come out and just spout talking points that they don't even believe, and those are people I tried to eliminate from having ever on the air again.
I think no network has honest conversations about Donald Trump. Nobody's had honest conversations about Donald Trump since 2016. I saw last night they were talking about, the double standard that exists between Donald Trump and the vice president, but it's always a double standard with Trump, whether it's with Hillary, whether it's, against Biden, now with Kamala. We talk about him being a threat to democracy, but we don't treat him like one.
I don't know what you've been watching, but I don't know of any Trump supporters out there or people who like him who are tuning in to me every night to try to get, to be validated in their opinions. I don't know. I don't know. I disagree.
I don't think it's about validating. What do you mean, validating the Trump?
Well, you're saying that we're not. That I guess you're saying I'm not discussing all the things he is saying and doing and pointing it out and talking to what John Kelly. I mean, this has been discussed. There's nobody. Let me just say, there is nobody on the planet who has not heard and seen pretty much everything Donald Trump has said and knows.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
Well, knows who he is, whether they believe it or not, whether they care or not.
When the vice president said that to you last night, she said, "I don't think enough people know." I 100% believe enough people have not heard his rhetoric. What do you think, Angela?
I was just about to say, can y'all tag me in? I'm never doing this remote with y'all ever again.
Angela, yes. It's the problem of being on satellite. Yes.
I know,
please,
it is the problem. No, I was just going to say, I think what you're saying is fair, that there have been roundtable discussions where y'all raised this. I think the problem is it would be nice for, you to cut the camera and say, I'm looking right here, right now. Y'all, Kamala Harris is a black woman.
Right,
let's move right along.
Yeah,
but I was going to say, to your colleague's credit, Jake, right after the town hall yesterday, he said that you all had the opportunity to critique what Kamala Harris' policy proposals were, what her positions were, what her recommendations were, whether or not she answered her question fair enough, because, ta-da, she's the only one that showed up for the town hall. Yeah. It was supposed to be a debate. He said that. I think that the point is we don't hear those things enough, and it has been a threat. We cannot say, Kamala is going on with Joe Rogan, Donald Trump is going on with Joe Rogan, but Kamala's choosing Club Shay Shay. Debate it. It's like, what is he going to say when he goes on
Here's what I've been saying, which is, it is a double standard because Kamala Harris has policies, and she talks about her policies. And you may think she doesn't talk in detail enough about her policies, and plenty do. And I pushed her on that last night. I quizzed. I try to look at the policies from different, but she's got stated policies, and you can look them up. Donald Trump does not have policies.
Oh, there you go. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and we say, this is nothing new. We talk about this all the time. He doesn't have. He does not have his policy in the 2016. His policy for Iraq was taking Iraq's oil by using U.S. soldiers to surround the oil fields and extract the oil somehow and bring it to America. I mean, literally, and I was like, that's not a thing. So that's been going on now. That's what
you just did. What you just did is what I would like to hear more pundits do, because a lot of times we ask answers.
All right,
we say things like, "Do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?" I think we kind of.
But you know what? I'm not a pundit. I'm not interested. I don't think my opinion is particularly interesting for viewers out there. I'm interested in.
I disagree.
Well, okay, you can quibble with it.
I disagree with that too.
You can quibble with it, but I believe in asking questions and probing people's arguments and trying to reveal people's arguments, what's true and what's not. And I'm not on MSNBC for a reason. I'm not on some other network for a reason. I'm on CNN because I want to talk to Republicans, I want to talk to Democrats, and I want to learn from them. I don't think I have the answers. I'm willing to change my mind. People can convince me of stuff all the time. I'm not I don't even know why I'm talking about myself. I don't even know what I'm talking about myself.
No, but Anderson,
but my point is,
I want to tell you this.
I think what we're doing here is important because
I
do think in this country where, I got so many. I don't look at comments about myself, but I was looking up some comments about my Grief podcast, and I came across this whole inundation from people who are Harris supporters saying to me online today, like, how dare you, what a betrayal that you would ask her these questions.
No,
and I'm like,
job.
You misunderstand what my job is. I'm not on MSNBC, and no disrespect, what they do is they're very talented. But I don't watch it. I'm not interested in watching what these overpaid blow-dried anchors think, and I include myself in that overpaid blow-dried, although I don't blow-dry. I am overpaid, but I'm not interested in the anchor's opinion. I'm interested in facts and letting the viewers make up their own mind. So anyway, I'm sorry this devolved.
I like that you said that, but I will just say in this moment, some of what we're talking about tonight, Anderson, is not actually an opinion at all. It is just the facts. And you are one of the most trusted voices on television. And it is important in those moments where those conversations devolve into nonsense, particularly on the other side of the aisle. There are conspiracy theories. They won't even say her name right. That has to be checked in the moment because that is what fascism looks like. That is how we start sliding down a very slippery slope, and we cannot afford to be here. The election is 12 days away, and this should not be even what is on the ballot, but democracy's on the line. That is not a partisan issue. It is the truth. And I think that's what's important for cable news networks in particular to be saying, whether you're on Fox, you're on CNN, or you're on MSNBC. For all of us, that is our responsibility and our patriotic duty.
And now that I know you can literally call bullshit, I want to hear it more.
Charlemagne the God. Thank you, Angela Rye. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you,
I appreciate
Anderson.
it.
So, here's the thing that people fail to either know, realize, understand, or come to grips with. It is in a lot of these news outlets' best interests to have Donald Trump as the president. And you know why? It's for a multitude of reasons, but I will name the top two. Number one, because they're owned by these billionaires, where his quote unquote policies, which he really has none, but the main goal of Donald Trump is to make sure that the top 1 to 3% are protected financially, where they won't have to contribute more of the money that they are bringing in to this nation that they claim they love so much, which is one of the most unpatriotic things, in my personal opinion, the fact that they get taxed the least and get the most benefits out of it. And two, it's in their best interest to have someone like Donald Trump, not even like Donald Trump, but have Donald Trump as the president, because ever since he came down that escalator in 2015, every bit of news every single day has something about Donald Trump in it. And that is good for their ratings. Kamala's boring. Joe Biden is boring. I've said this over and over again. Ratings is what brings them in more money. All of it, bottom line, is about the money. That is why the Washington Post failed to endorse the president, because Kamala is not going to be for their best interest. Jeff Bezos is a billionaire that owns the Washington Post. And even though Donald Trump doesn't like him out of pure jealousy, because Jeff Bezos has definitely been a successful businessman, but Donald Trump has just been a fraud his entire life that's been propped up by his family's money and the name, which the name should be Trash, not Trump, but I digress. It would be more beneficial for Jeff Bezos to have Donald Trump be the president, but instead of coming out knowing that he's not the best interest for the entire country, we're not going to endorse anybody. This is why people like Anderson Cooper and Dana Bash and, people on CNN, they, that people say is more left-leaning. It's really not. It's really not. These organizations, they are Trump supporters because financially it's more beneficial to them. So to see Charlemagne calling out Anderson Cooper to his face, and Anderson Cooper says, oh, that's BS. No, it's not BS. It's actually true, because it's like Van Jones said, Donald Trump can be lawless while Kamala has to be flawless, period. So you guys let me know your thoughts about everything in the comment section.
You know wagwan, when you turn me around, wagwan, when the neighbors yell turn down, we keep it going, like bum bum bum, throw it back then rotation, figure it's in the season, shine bright as that season, girl you know you are a jam 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 jam, jam 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 jam, jam 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 jam, sounding like you're wasting every time.
Thanks for being here, liking, and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.